Nuclear operatives now have a chance of spawning with either the station nuke codes or their own nuke codes, making it so that they're not quite as predictable. The energy sword has had its price increased by 2, and to compensate has been buffed in a pretty significant manner. The energy sword now has a chance of reflecting bullets and a very high chance of reflecting lasers. So if you shoot something with an energy sword, as you can see, there's a 1 bullet ricochet, and if you shoot them with a laser, you can see it ricochet off. And it also makes a like a clank sound, which is just there to let you know that it reflected. And if you get unlucky, you can definitely shoot yourself as well. So the energy sword is a much more deadly option. Syndicate's got a pretty big buff in terms of a lot of the lesser used or just not as popular options have had their price reduced. For example, all the magazines have had their cost reduced to just 1. Things like the Web Vest have had their cost reduced. Flashbangs are also now down to 1 TC because 2 TC was actually crazy. And the Stealth Box is down to 5. And there's a few other ones, like the Reinforcement Teleporter's down to 16. And the Jetpack now comes with fuel. And there was a little bit of a rebalancing with like making the Laser Scalpel do some more damage, and the Jaws of Life now actually prize faster. But that's way too many things to cover each specific, and that's most of them anyway. Even gloves now just have a regular description as black gloves, so there is no way anyone can just examine your gloves and instantly know you're a syndicate, which means you can now steal from people with a lot less risk. After a few months of testing, we have decided that the research director, the quartermaster, and the chief medical officer are all a bit more loyal to Nanotrust than again. Dwarves have returned after being gone for a long time from Space Station 14. They come with no real significant changes, but they have a deeper accent, which there wasn't even voices back then, so here's an example of that. And as you can see, they have a Scottish accent, so like words like you become ye, and I'm not going to go through every single accent, there's a lot of them. And another minor thing is they can drink alcohol to gain slight brute healing. They're also slightly easier to shove over, but shove code in general is interesting. The SKUB sound was removed and immediately replaced with new audio, because I am pro SKUB.
Huh. SKUB. Huh. SKUB.
The T-Ray scanner has received an update to make it client-side, and it also has a smoother animation now when the wires actually are revealed, and it has a much further range due to this. So gone are the days of seeing engineers walking down the hall and all the wires jumping out at you. High pressure on armor has actually been buffed, so suits like the Atmos suit can actually withstand fires. Yeah, you'll still be lit ablaze, but as you can see, I'm not actually taking any pressure damage. So fighting fires with an actual suit meant to withstand the high pressure is now possible. Science can now research the advanced mop, and the advanced mop is basically just a normal mop that cleans in a larger radius and can hold more in the reservoir, meaning you could clean more without having to wring it out into a bucket. Be great for every janitor on the station. DNA has been added to the game, and you can currently transmit your DNA through a few ways, such as drinking a glass and scanning it with the forensic scanner. I'll show you the DNA of the person who drank it, as well as my fingerprints, so my DNA is GCCT. And also, if you leave any blood behind, you'll also have the same DNA. As you can see, it's my DNA. And to find the DNA of all the people in the station, you have to go to a station records computer. Bleeding has received yet another rework. New items such as a blood pack have been added, which help restore missing blood. They spawn on your medical belt. So for example, as you can see in my medical belt, it comes with 2. A lot of items in general, like the med kits, have had their stock changed to be more fitting for, well, just in general for what the kits are. A lot of them have been out of date. And iron itself has also been doubled in its effectiveness, restoring blood, meaning you don't need to take those 50-unit horse pills anymore. Bleed rate healing was halved, which means that you're more likely to end up actually taking blood loss damage due to the fact you're not just out healing low amounts of bleed rate. To compensate this, though, the bleed rate of weapons was decreased by 10 times. So to put it simply, you have to take a lot more damage to actually start incurring blood loss, but when you do start taking blood loss, it's a lot more of a problem because you're not just naturally recovering it as easily. However, when you're healthy, you will start recovering blood loss damage quicker. And what healthy means is when you're over 85% of your current blood pool. I know this is a lot of numbers, but this is more of a technical update. Also, it's worth mentioning that bleeding profusely and being pale has been updated to be, well, more accurate. So what you can do is if somebody, say if I have a patient that comes in and I examine them by shift clicking and clicking the heart, he's bleeding. Well, the cautery is another tool that has been updated to actually, well, cauterize. So basically you just melee them, and as you can see, they're no longer bleeding because I cauterized their wound. And then you can take the blood pack and you just force a blood pack down their throat, and now recover some of their missing blood. Just a little bit more consistency to the bleeding and now actual items to help deal with it. And of course, there's more to this week. I just cover the more major things. I want you all to thank every single contributor and maintainer helping keeping this game going. I'll do a slow scroll so you can read all the things if you don't have a changelog handy, or you're not in game, or just not in the Discord. And there are a few other cool things like the Viro close and the shuttle, evac shuttle being random time, but I just don't need to show off every single little thing. And that is it for now.